It happens. Okay, so this week we go over chapters 29 through 35. Um, some exciting things totally happen in these 7 chapters. Ugh. We
Yeah,
finally reached the ball.
yes.
Came a little quicker than I thought. So we've
It
reached 50 days. Well, 49. 49, because the ball is the 49th. 50th day starts
Mhm.
at midnight, which allows killing of any ruler. And then we get a little backstory on certain areas.
Yeah. And it was this set of chapters did not disappoint at all.
No.
Like it has totally picked up. I can't say that up until now it was slow. I have enjoyed up until now.
Yes.
Um, it was informative. There were a couple times I thought we could have gotten a little bit more detail as far as like action, like in the last set of chapters with her assassination attempt and stuff on her life. I felt like, she's this badass warrior, trained, you know, person, and I gotten a little bit more. But like this set of chapters, yeah,
King Oro had
it
his
just
sweet
for like
moments,
he did.
but he's still an ass.
Oh,
He's still an ass.
and another almost steamy moment.
Yes.
Almost steamy. Yep. I thought I was like, oh fuck, he's gonna take her right here in the
Yep.
hall. Like
Uh,
he gonna get in.
and then the one scene where I'm assuming the Abbey is like a church type,
That's kind of how I took it.
because he's like,
Or
what I'm thinking is I can't say in a place like this. So to me, it's like
yes,
some type of like sacral
like
or sacred like
yeah,
place
or
or
maybe.
something.
And honestly, I pictured it as one of those like old church buildings that only seats like so many that you have in like a
Yeah.
small town or something. Is even how I pictured it. But yeah. But holy, this set of chapters didn't disappoint with the
They
steamy
did not.
moments, the action, the foreshadowing connection from one of the previous chapters with Grimm and a demonstration.
Yes, I had a
That was
theory.
fucking insane.
I kind of have a theory, and I maybe jumping a little bit, but can he sense what's about to happen or like predict whether it comes true or not?
Premonition.
Yeah,
Like
whether it comes true or
premonition.
not, but can is that like his flair? Because
That's what I wondered too.
he said his flair is not something that he can use against her. So is that like him seeing what could possibly happen?
I don't know, but I wondered the same thing.
I believe he knows
But
about
when
the heart
that
as well.
I would imagine that he has some sort of knowledge about it. Whether he's known about it as long as Oro or longer than what Oro
Well,
has.
Aura's only known
Um
about the
since
heart recently, since the
yeah.
last centennial after it.
And I will say I got a little I want to know like
Who, who,
I don't know if he's sus, but like he's scared of something. Grim is.
I wonder if he's looking for the heart and he wants to break that curse because somebody has to find the heart and use its powers. So somebody took the nightshades portion because we did learn that somebody took the nightshades portion and spun the curses.
Yeah.
And the only way is for somebody, is he trying to do that and that's why he's like sad and worried? Or is he trying to stop the person? Like if he can predict things or see an outcome, is he trying to stop that person?
Is it like a sacrificial type thing?
See,
Like, and that's
I don't
why
know.
he, like, that involves Isla to where like he knows that something is going to happen and he's like, "Oh my gosh, I like her. Like she's this great person, but I'm about to watch you fucking die or what, whatever in some
Like he knows,
sacrifice for the greater good."
like that's why I feel like I said it, like towards when we first started, like when they all know something, but what
Yeah.
is it that is it something different? Do they each know something different, or do they each know the same thing?
Yeah.
But going into starting off with chapter 29, we get Juniper back.
Yep.
We get Juniper. He's like the
And I
gossip.
love Yeah, and I love how he's like, "Oh, my favorite wildling. To what do I owe the pleasure?" And she's like, "Yeah, somebody tried to kill me." He's like, "Okay, what do you need? What
And it's like
information do you seek?"
it only took one meeting. That's it. Like they only met the one time, and then that's so maybe not very many people have been sharing secrets. So he knew she'd be back.
Or
Um.
he just took a very big interest into her because he knows that she's full of fucking secrets. Maybe he can sense
Oh.
stuff, and he's like, "She's full of it, like full of shit," and just
Like she's got stories.
yeah,
She's got stories. Um.
yeah.
She wanted to know if the Wildling Palace, well, the mirror place, if something was hidden inside. He doesn't believe, or he hasn't heard anything hidden there, but he does know that the place of mirrors is the only place on the island where any realms, when they go there, like anybody from a different realm that goes there, can't use their powers in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's repressed. So only wildling powers work inside.
Interesting.
And Isla
Interesting.
mentioned only a powerful enchantment can do that. So who put an enchantment?
I don't know, but I
Was
feel
it
like
her
we're gonna
mom?
get like a bunch of information. But I don't think it would be her mom. Her mom wouldn't have any access to the place of mirrors.
But how long ago did her mom pass? Like, was it before? Well, couldn't have been before the curses because her mom was part of the curse.
Yeah.
So her mom was around during the curses, but was she around before the curses? And then this is where we get our grim scene once she leaves Juniper's. I like that he senses her, like when she's near,
Yeah.
because he said she's that's why I believe, okay, her emotions have a tinge or color to them, so he senses her. That's why I believe like they're somehow connected. Like there's
Yeah.
something about her. But the banter between them, um
I like how he offers to like make Juniper forget or kind of like threaten him or whatever for
for
her
her
to be able to take
secrets.
precautions. Yeah.
um I was sad that she was upset about the night of the curses were spun because he was not in his room sleeping, but he was in his room doing other things.
Yep.
And she did not. She was like sad about it.
Yeah.
I put in my
She
notes. We
did.
know what that implies.
Yeah.
What he was doing.
Um, she did. It did say that she feels pulled to the door like it spoke to her, that it was telling her that she needed to get it open.
Something's there that
So there's,
she's connected to. Maybe it's her powers. You didn't pick up.
maybe it's the heart. Maybe it's,
But does that, okay, because later on we find out that the heart only goes where dark meets light. So was what that one of the places? Because we don't learn all the places. We just know there's
no,
8 of them, and there's 2 on the Skyline.
because they're connected to where Nightshade territory basically was.
Was
Like
that got where
night
they grew
meets
over it? They
light.
they
Yeah.
rebuilt. They rebuilt over what Nightshade. And this is jumping, further back that we learn Nightshade was banished. When at the beginning it was said that they fled. So why were they banished? We don't know that yet.
Yeah, because we just know that it was like after the war. And we know that the war took place because of the greed from
Between the two creators.
yeah. And
And
then
that was
after that is when they left. They
and that was
fled
before the
for
curses.
their own.
You took cure.
Every time.
um when Grimm left the chambers, everything was burning and all the rulers were dead, and he was a ruler of realm when all he ever did was train as a warrior. So was he meant to be one of the rulers? Did he have like siblings that were ahead of him? If and that's
Oh,
why he was trained as a
never.
warrior, because of there he wasn't like he was further down the line.
It's either that or because nobody expected the curses to be spun. Maybe
I
they
don't
didn't think
know.
the rulers would have to sacrifice themselves. I don't know. But it never does say whether or not he had siblings or if
No,
it was just him.
it just said his parents had died with the curse from the curses. So
Yeah.
wasn't quite sure. And then Isla asked to see his power. And he was a little hesitant to show her. And he is a lot powerful than we know, for the simple fact that he had to take her away. And then when he used his the darkness in places that it touched, the life had been ripped away. The grass sat charred and matted. Trees were reduced to knolls or holes that decayed into ash. It was like he was death itself. Because she did mention that if it was a person, their flesh would like melt away and their bones would turn to ash, like crumble and turn to ash.
Yeah.
And then later on, um, he took them off the cliff. He fell off the cliff with her, right? Am I thinking
Yes.
that correctly?
He like
And
jumped, yeah, he jumped down, but she wasn't scared that time. Like when
no.
she flew with Oro.
Yeah. I think it's because there's
He's
really
very gentle with
no
her.
connection between her and Oro. It's been like tension
Yeah.
right off the rip between them two. And then we also learn he can open a black hole that would swallow the beach. He can turn the sea dark as ink and kill everything that's in there. And then from where they were standing, he can demolish the castle brick by brick. So, just how powerful is he?
Yeah. And he said he'd take her back to Nightshade if
Yes.
he knew she would not hate him for it.
He would do all of those things if she didn't hate him. And then when she started freaking out because I think she sensed that she was getting feelings for him, not to be in love with him, but she was getting those feelings. Like she showed her emotions that she was afraid, and it made him flinch. So he took
Yeah.
her back to the castle and disappeared.
Which
Because,
is nice because he didn't like push it or anything.
right, but it scared him because she made herself show that she was afraid, but not for the
Yeah.
reasons he's thinking.
Yeah.
Totally different reasons than what he was probably thinking. Ah, the ball though. I can't wait till we discuss more about the ball
I
because
know.
the scene between them two. Ah,
This next chapter,
oh,
I was
with the
like,
specter.
you're a dick. Yeah, you're a dick making a fucking deal and not telling her about it.
And then what the specter
So,
did.
like, I know it was for like a hot second, like a snap of the finger, and
Still,
she was back in
but
her own body. But like,
if she would have kissed him before Grimm, The audacity. It's like okay, it took Oro 5 days to find the ancient creature, 2 days to coax her, and 1 day to make the deal with her. And then Celeste informed Isla that the Sun Isle Library was heavily guarded and monitored as well as full of people, and that Isla would not go unnoticed if she was to go. Give me a second. Yeah. Okay. The creature was on Star Isle, which I think it was a disappointment to Isla because nothing was like kept up with, but it was because nobody had really made it past 25, so there really wasn't many people there.
Yeah. Yeah, she thought of it as the kingdom being run by nobles that were basically children
Yeah.
themselves.
Yeah,
Um,
masters no longer existed because of the curse.
yep. We did learn, though, that they could manipulate energy from the stars. Power so bright and shiny it could once make buildings topple over, throw bodies soaring without a touch, and shatter palace windows when they had the Starling Masters.
Yeah.
Described as beautiful and glittering, but in ruins, which is sad. But maybe they can restore it.
Hopefully. Although I feel like they would be the ones to be sacrificed because there's not many of them since they can't live past 25. I feel like maybe that's the one they want to go after.
It could be if they don't, like,
Cuz they can't
they
get rid
can't
of the
break the
king,
curses. They can't, if they can't break the curse,
right?
the Starlings can't live past 25. They don't have a lot to offer, basically. So,
Because you can't get rid of the king. You can't get rid of Grim. So it's got to be one of the four others.
yeah.
I love that we learned exactly why though Grim was invited this year because he didn't realize what the whole thing entailed
Yeah.
when putting two together. Isla
um,
had to do what Oro said. She had to do as he said because these creatures can be tricksters and some will eat you for dinner.
yeah. And use your bones to pick out their teeth. And they're older
Yes.
than, some of
The
them are as
island.
old as the island itself.
Yes. And then that's where we meet the specter, or pretty much a ghost, um, as the ancient creature. Upon meeting the specter, I'm assuming that's a she. Um, I don't remember. I guess it does say. Um, she states, "You brought me a gift,"
Hmm.
which we later find out that Oro offered Isla's body to the specter to pretty much
Well,
host for a few moments because she wanted the
yeah,
prettiest girl on the island.
I put like, excuse me, Your Highness, but is that how we feel about our girl right now? That she's the prettiest girl on the
See,
island?
and maybe he does think that, but at the same time that he's dragging her along, so she has to be that.
But he obviously
I
knew she was perfect for it because the Spectre even says, and she's perfect. So, like, he had no
uh
doubt at all that
and
it was a good one.
later on we find out that his favorite place, the sea, is dark green just like her
Like her
eyes.
eyes. Yeah.
So is that why he's an ass to her? Is he's hiding? Because we also find out that kings cannot fall in love in that
Well,
in
and
that
she's a
sense.
wildling. And she's a wildling, and they discussed him now, even though they were his favorite people. So he's probably like, man, I'm super attracted to her, but ugh, she's a fucking wildling. Like, I can't allow
And
myself to fall in love with her.
because she would technically If she truly had the curse, have to kill him.
Yeah.
Um,
She does
Isla.
pretend asking, "How do I know you're not in love with her and just want a body for her to
Yes,
inhabit for all eternity?" And the specter looked at him like, "Okay, are we?" Like,
they were hopeful. They
yep.
wanted it to. I mean, and we get that when the specter does take over Isla's body, and then the king has to say that was enough. And when Isla was back in her body, that she was like mere inches away from
Like,
kissing him. Do
yeah,
what?
she had all up hands, all up in his hair, like,
She was clinging to him, and he's like stiff as a board, just standing there.
yeah.
Um, so he pretty much stopped the specter from using Isla to make out with him.
He could
um,
have warned her a little bit though, because he had to fucking stab her in the chest. Like, give a girl a heads up
yeah,
if you're gonna
but was
fucking
it him?
stab her to be
She
possessed.
she
He did.
thought she thought he
Oh,
stabbed her, or was it the specter going into her, pushing her pretty much her soul out? I think she just speculated that it was. She like believed it
yeah.
was
It
him.
just says that was her first thought as her mind went dark and she drifted far, far away. Was that he stabbed her because she felt something cold plunge into her chest.
It could have been the specter like going in and pushing her out. That's kind of how
Okay,
I took it.
girl, what's up? Like,
Um, the heart was not or is not on Star Isle this time. So I'm wondering, was it there before? The way the specter worded that, has it been there previously?
um, I that's how I took it since she followed up with not this time at least.
Yeah,
Um, it definitely makes it seem like it was there once
one.
before
Yeah.
at some point.
Um,
Um, but that yeah, that's definitely how I took it.
she did send the king a warning. The underbelly of the island is rising up. Darkness is at work because they feel it. They and Isla asked what, and they said dread. But what does that mean? Like, what's in the underbelly?
I have no idea, but I think we're very close to finding out,
Is that
considering
though?
what happened.
Is that why the ball? What happens at the ball happened? Is that what? Is that from the underbelly?
Part of it, maybe the underbelly is like the core of Lightlark, and maybe it's retaliating because the king is dying. Maybe it's just
Well, we later find out from the winged men that a lot of them are mad because they feel like the
they,
king abandoned them. So is that part of it too? Like whatever's in the underbelly feels like they're being neglected because the king hasn't done anything?
that could be that's a pretty valid point.
Um oh, she did make I think I skipped over it. But Isla made a deal though with the king that if she allowed it to happen, then he has to take her to the library on Sun Isle. So after everything was done with the specter, they got the information they needed. Isla demands to go to the library, but Oro said no, not until they find the heart. Um, and this is where Oro thought Isla was trying to win his heart by tormenting him. But when Isla told him she had no interest, he had the nerve to look taken back. Like, everybody wants him.
Like he's never been denied anything. Like you don't
Probably because
tell this
he's the
man
king.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, she has a dark haired man on her mind right now. Not you.
For sure. Oh my god. Like, what if we start having oro dreams,
Oh, please
duo
no.
dreams, thruple dreams?
Please no. um, they then get into an argument on why she needs to see his library while he's trying to break these curses. Like, I get his point. He's freaking out. He's dying. Um, but um, Isla couldn't wait until they found the heart because she is in danger after the assassination attempt. So she's trying to find the bond breaker as soon as she can. So she tells the king that she doesn't need him to get into his isle. She'll go during the day and have it to herself. Which she does go. She does go in the next chapter. I don't have very much for this one, just about like she does go. Everything was gilded, just like the king, or just like its king. There was gold everywhere. I would not want to live there. I'm not a gold person. I'm not a gold person.
Yeah, I
Um,
didn't have a whole lot of notes for this one.
no, it
I
was a,
like
this
that he
was
gave
one of
her
those.
access, though.
Yes, a guard was waiting for her, and he had instructions to take her to the library, and she was
He
allowed
ordered the
access to
library to be closed.
everything.
Yep. He closed it for a whole week knowing she was gonna fucking show up.
One of those days. And to her disappointment, there was no bond breaker, which was
Oh
hidden
no, like
behind
I wanna,
flames.
yeah, and I wanna see the fucking library. 10 floors of books and galleries so long she couldn't see where they ended.
Yeah, that's like a
That's
week's
my
work to
kind of
go
library.
through. But that's like a week's work to like look through. And then going into 32, Celeste believes now, because there is no bond breaker in Sun Isle, that there's a hidden library somewhere.
Yep.
Maybe is that what? Because they didn't check Wildling, and they have no
Okay,
way
let's
of
guess.
checking Nightshade. So is that what's behind the hidden door in
Wildling Palace.
the
Place of
mirror
Mirrors.
the place of mirrors? And that's why
Could
it's
be.
enchanted so nobody can use their powers to break it
Could
open.
be.
But we
That's
later find out that Oro doesn't know anything about a bond breaker.
yeah. Of course he would fucking know
And he
if
should
that was
know.
around, if it was a thing, yeah. Um, okay,
Unless it's that big of a
I have to
secret.
say, I have to say, or maybe somebody was so desperate that they were just like, oh, like I heard a rumor about this thing to get everybody up in a tizzy and like, searching for it. Part of me got a little suspicious though when Celeste took the news really well that they have checked every fucking library and there's no bond breaker. Like she was calm.
Is she setting?
Like
Is
that's what
she
this whole
setting?
fucking plan has
Mm,
been.
is she
Um,
setting Isla up?
I don't know, but I got a little suspicious. But she's she's still up there. I still have all the benefit of the doubt to give to this girl, but
I
I
I
don't know.
don't trust her, and it further like maybe not trust her during the ball. Like she seemed taken aback that Isla said she would fight. She started saying, "Oh, well, are you sure?"
Maybe she thought since they're the weakest that they were just gonna hide out. I don't know. And
Yeah, but if she
who
knows,
knows?
if she's
Maybe
known her
Celeste was
friend,
gonna like Celeste was gonna be the one to kill her since they're not partnered up after all or whatever. I don't
but
know.
you should have a little faith in your friend, though. They've known each other for so long that she should know that Isla's gonna fight till the end and not give up. She
Oh,
hasn't
for
gave up.
sure.
She hasn't given up yet. So I still don't. Um. So, but Celeste thinks there's another library and wants to find it, but Isla kind of got mad and was like, I have no time. Because
Yeah.
Cleo's already attempted to kill her once, she's definitely going to try and kill her after the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so Celeste still wants to try to find this bond breaker, but Isla wants to make another plan, and that's when she goes and seeks out Oro again to amend their little fight that they had. Um, he didn't find what he was looking for. She didn't find what she was looking for. So she asked him what was next. And now we have the ball. Um, but after the night after the ball is where they were gonna go seek out the next ancient creature. Oro, Oro said would kill her, but I like how it was the other way around.
Yeah.
It was definitely the other way around. The
Um,
king did claim the curses weren't broken because it was hard to kill another ruler. It weren't broken because it was hard to kill another ruler, but because choosing the right ruler and realm to die was the difficult part. Um, and then the nobles that were there, Isla believed they were making bets on them. You were gonna say something. I totally kept going.
oh, no. Um, I was just gonna say, like at the beginning, it talks about their entrance to the ball, and like it was six grand staircases, one for each ruler. And as she was coming in, she spotted Cleo and like gave Cleo a look like, "Oh, haha, I'm still here. Like your assassination attempt failed." But the look Cleo gave back was
Like
like
indifferent.
exactly what it wasn't what she expected at all. So I had wondered if it really was just the nobles acting out, thinking that they were going to take somebody out. Maybe Cleo didn't know about it, or she's really got a great fucking poker face and
She
is like,
could.
I'm sure
She's been
no emotion.
around.
We failed. Yeah.
She's been around because later on she's sitting in a corner surrounded by more nobles, and they all were watching Isla, like almost waiting to like kill her to be able, like, hey, go ahead and kill her. So Cleo could have a good poker face, and that
Yeah.
could make her the ruler she is today. Like, not to give away anything. I mean, nobody else knows that she's got a legion, although I think the king suspects something because later on we find out that he has noticed her guards, that she has
Yeah.
upped her guards. I do love that a starling was brave enough to dance with Isla, but I'm really hoping it
Few times.
wasn't. Yes, multiple times, but I'm really hoping it wasn't Celeste's doing.
Oh, like, hey, go dance with my friend so she's
Yeah.
not in the corner. Um,
And then her and Azul's exchange from across the way, where he acknowledged
mhm.
she believes her diamond earrings that she was
Yeah,
wearing.
his cape was fucking made of gems, and
Gems.
he had a ring
Yeah.
on his finger, and so he's definitely
Flashy,
got a
flashy.
yeah,
Um,
yep,
and then she was hoping the exchange between the two of them, like, showed his people, like, hey, they're cool. There might be an alliance between the two of them. So don't go after her.
yeah,
And I love that she was seeking Grim. Like, she was trying to seek him out, and then when she was finally alone, he seeked her out.
yes, yes. And they're in the hall, and he makes a comment about how satisfyingly terrifying
She
she looked.
looked. I wish we had a visual. Like, I wish one of the pictures in the back of the book was like of her dress.
I know. Yeah, or like them. Yeah, I don't know.
The way I read
I
it
like
was like
how,
poison ivy vibes. Like
yeah, totally.
poison ivy vibes.
Like some vines
The
across the nipple
leaves.
and
Well,
some vines across the cooter, like, and we're good.
because she said that like from the one angle, the
A
one
single leaf
angle.
crack.
Well, because she said the way like when she was up against Grim, like he could look down from the barely covered that she was barely covered. Um, when
He
she was in
was
the balcony.
visible just so he could dance with her.
No, they were
Like he
dancing.
stayed
Oh,
invisible.
when he came uninvisible, yeah.
Yeah, like he only came out so she could see him, so that way he could dance with her.
Yes.
That was sweet. Like
Yes.
he's hot for her.
And he
Like
knew.
he's
He
got it
knew
bad.
she was looking for him.
Yeah.
So can he sense, like, did he sense that she was looking for him?
Maybe it was a type of feeling. Maybe just I don't know. Maybe he picked up the curiosity or something of where he was, that she wasn't seeing him, and he's like, "Oh, maybe it's time to make myself, noticeable." And he took the chance when she was alone in the hall or something like that. Like, oh, we're finally alone. We're not in front of everybody causing a scene
Well,
because they
and
pay
I
so
wonder
much
too
attention together.
that a little bit later on between their exchange is he gives her that black diamond necklace. But she's afraid that people would notice it and that they would have an alliance. I wonder if that's why he waited too until she like maybe he was watching her throughout like the actual ball and he noticed.
Around a lot because and I've wondered this from their first encounter if he isn't like following her and she doesn't know
Because you're not going to know
because
where he's at.
especially if he gives her the necklace, like if you're in trouble just touch this or whatever and I'll come to you
So was he
type
there
thing.
when she was trying to be assassinated? Like in the shadow, like where nobody could see him?
That's what I wondered. Like I have wondered if he's always there at these specific moments. And then again, maybe because they've gotten closer, that now with killing about to taking place, maybe he heard about the assassination attempt and
Mm,
he's like, yeah, this isn't we're not doing this. I'm gonna fucking protect her
right.
because he's got it bad.
Mm,
I like that he twirls her around with his devilish grin and they have like this little dancing
yes.
and stuff in the
Um,
hallway until they're
but
rudely
then
interrupted by a group of fucking
yes,
like
drunk nobles pretty much that wanted to
yeah,
gossip.
fuck off.
I wanted to know
We'll
what the
have our
gossip
moment.
was though. Like who were they gossiping about? Was it important that she didn't want to listen though? I know she was like in her little happy bubble with Grim, but what was the gossip? But she did wonder if he was afraid she'd fall in love with him because of her curse.
Like, yeah, if it made him nervous or something.
Yeah.
Yes, and this leads into their steamy moment of where he touches her and she's like holding her against his body and she wants to feel his hands like up and down and everywhere
Yes. And
around.
then he ruins it later on by telling her that he has to leave and to go dance with the king, and she was mad.
So that is where I'm like, okay, are you up to something? Are you fucking working with somebody? Because
Yes.
he's like, I have to go. Like he and he's like spooked by something. Like there
Um,
and I don't think that it's a bad thing that he's doing,
what? Okay.
or it is a bad thing, but it's for the greater good and it's gonna
Yeah.
seem like a fucking betrayal, but it's not gonna be one.
Um, he did make the necklace invisible. So that way
I
nobody knew. Because
I
that's what
love
she was
that.
freaking out about. But I'm wondering, um, Is that's why I believe, is he also looking for the heart, or is he also looking for the ancient creatures? Or is he taking on the greatest danger besides him?
There's so many possibilities. Like he could be getting the ancient creatures together, maybe to like form a legion of ancient creatures because they would be powerful. They've been around since the island was created or longer. And maybe he thinks that they can all work together and do something. Um,
And he never showed up before midnight again either, like he said he would.
yeah, we don't hear about him again, do we? Like he doesn't show up.
No. But see, after she left, like after their encounter, she ran into Celeste, who told her there was only 30 minutes till midnight. So whatever he had to do was pretty quick. So I'm assuming maybe he was meeting with somebody, or he
He
knew,
knew the
he
events.
predicted, he knew what was going to happen. So maybe he was
Yeah,
afraid of
but
actually seeing it happen.
or
Maybe he was trying to
I don't
stop
know.
it.
Maybe he didn't want to be there. Maybe he didn't want to be there because he was afraid people were going to accuse him of doing it because it was shit that they had fucking seen. Like it like played out during that demonstration. That maybe they thought that maybe he was afraid that they were gonna think that he had did it, considering
Mm.
he was the one who essentially showed them. Um okay, so that makes sense now. Like he's leaving and she goes upstairs and it fucking happens. Like
Yeah.
he definitely didn't want to be there. Or maybe it needed to play out that way with him not being there. Like it could be one of those types of things where he's meant to be somewhere else while this is happening. And we'll find out later on
Or
that he couldn't be there or something. I don't know.
or was he trying to stop it, like for whoever was whatever caused what happened? Like was he gonna try and go stop it? Because I don't
Maybe.
think he never came back in the rest of the chapters. We haven't seen him yet.
No.
So we
Well,
don't know
he
exactly what
doesn't notice
happened.
it at least. I
Um
feel like if he was there, he would have sought her out, like, "Hey, are you okay?" Because she was just worried about Oro the entire time to make
well,
sure
it's
that nothing happened
because
to him.
everybody else was occupied. She needed him to help save these people. Because after her and Celeste were talking, um, I know she always hits her head. It's like that. Is that
Like a
foreshadowing
child,
something?
like a fucking child.
Yeah, but is it foreshadowing something? Because this is the third time she's hit her head, or
Yeah,
second.
I don't.
Is it the second or third time she's hit her
I
head?
think this is the second time, and I think the third time is in the next couple chapters when they go back out and meet the winged people. Does she hit
Mm.
her head then? I think that's the third time she hits her head.
Um, this is where the castle starts collapsing, and people were dying. Lightlark was falling, and Isla questioned why now, why the ball. I wonder that too. Like, why did they pick the ball? So whoever's
Yeah.
causing this knows when the plant, or it's just happening on its own. Like it can't withstand anymore.
Yeah. Because yeah, because the longer it goes on that he's dying, the more the island becomes weak, that maybe it just coincidentally happens the same night as the ball.
Right. Um, Isla had no way of helping people being powerless, but Oro could because I think everybody else was kind of like saving their own people. She tried yelling for him across the room, but he couldn't hear her. He was too far away, and he was also on the ground with his hands in the floor.
And I'm
She did
assuming he
save a
was trying
Mooney.
to,
Pull it, I think, pull it together. Like, whatever. I think he was trying to make it stand still because we do learn later on that
transfer some of
after.
his power.
Yeah. And then the Moonling. She saved a Moonling by pushing him out of the way, and he had the nerve to look at her with disgust. She could have let you die, dude. Like,
Yeah, really.
she just saved your ass, and you're gonna give her a look of disgust because your pride. Say thank you and move on.
Yeah.
Um, Once she got to Oro, he ignored her. And then she had to like knock some sense into him and tell him that people were dying and need him. But she did notice that his eyes were hollow as if every ounce of energy was drained. That's when she was able to knock some sense into him for him to use as much of his power that he had left to stop everything. So it like drained him completely. Um, this made her believe that this centennial was perhaps the last one, if they could make it through the whole 100 days.
Yeah.
Dozens were dead, and the wing of the castle had been reduced to little more than rubble. And then that's when she wondered, or she wasn't sure if it would last the last 100 days, or the rest of the 100 days, sorry. See, this is like, okay, this is like where her and Oro get into it again. They were going on their way to see the next ancient creature. That's why it made me believe, because it brought up his demonstration. Like, can he see outcomes or predictions of outcomes?
Yeah. Um, and I was just gonna say, I like in this chapter that he opens up a little bit more with some
Yes.
information on the heart. He confirms and
A
some
little
stuff.
backstory about Lightlark, how Lightlark is made.
And
Although,
he hints that Grimm is not being 100% honest and as
but,
forthcoming as she thinks.
yes.
But he is a man of mystery, so I fucking get it.
Yes, and I had this in my notes. Okay, before we jump to that, okay, that's why it makes me like, can he sense things that are going to happen? And then we learn that the heart was made during the creation of the island and contains pure concentrated energy from its creator. So both the nightshades and the sunlings energy are in this heart. But that made me wonder, is Oro jealous though? Because of his comment he said about Grimm being the only forthcoming ruler? Like, he seemed a little jealous that
Yeah, but
he was
Oro
being,
chose not to fucking
he chose to
cherish
be an
it.
ass.
To be a dick, yeah. He
Mm-hmm.
chose to be the dick the entire time. Grimm was like, "Oh, I like her" from the very beginning, and
I'll tell her what I can.
yeah,
Um, we're still missing part of the story about Lightlark, and but the way I saw it is the way Aura was describing is Aura and Grimm know two different stories. I don't think that they're holding information. I just believe they're told two different stories because two different sides, they had to fall out. So of course one side's gonna make the other look different. That's the way
one hundred
I saw
percent.
that.
100%. That's why I
Not.
wasn't even sure if Oro even knew that it was both of them,
Mm-hmm.
both sides that had essentially created Lightlark. Like, was he brought up knowing that just the Sunlings did it, whereas Oro's clan, they were like the outcast. So, of course, that was going to be passed down. Like, no, it wasn't just them. That was lost in history, throughout history. Like, we helped to do this. And so they pass that down to them, whereas a lot of times that history gets erased from the other side because
Mm-hmm.
they want all the credit for everything. So it was nice to know that Oro did know, but he wasn't a man enough ruler to make
Share
it
it
right.
and share it. Like, so we
Yeah.
don't really know who's telling the truth at this point because, like I said, they could know two different stories from what
Yeah.
they were told growing up. Um, they did set up a trap for the next ancient creature. They made it easy for Isla to get captured. These ancient creatures had transparent wings, skin the color blue, and eyes too large and limbs too long. When I read that description, it made me think of two things: either Oompa Loompas, blue Oompa Loompas with wings, or the winglies from Legend of Dragoon?
The mosquitoes or the flies from a bug.
Oh, yes. Yes, those could work too. Or the ants. The ants that had the wings because they were blue and they had like the long limbs. It could have been yeah, that was like the third choice.
I pictured that bully bug from A Bug's Life that like picks on the ants and stuff. Like I can't remember if he was a fly or a mosquito or whatever he was, but he was
Where
like
let's
mean
see.
coming in to get the food or whatever.
The
And
grasshoppers?
yeah, whatever they
They
were.
were
Like
grasshoppers.
that's who I pictured being this like winged leader guy. I pictured the
Yeah.
bully from A Bug's Life.
The grasshoppers.
Hey, a fucking grasshopper. Not a mosquito, not a fly, a fucking grasshopper.
It
That
was
is
the
who I pictured.
grasshoppers. Yeah, mine was like blue Oompa Loompas with wings or the winglies from Legend of Dragoon. That's what made me
Who
like.
were the winglings? I haven't played that game in a long time. I cannot
It's been
picture
like a
what they look
year.
like.
Just like people with wings that flew. Like that's kind of what. Who was it? It was the girl with the hammer, wasn't it? That's where she was from.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I can't think
Started
of
with
her
an
name.
M. Her name started with an M, I believe. Marin? Marin? Was it Marin?
Sure,
I
I'll
just played
pull
it
it
like a
up.
year or so again. A year or so ago. That's what
It's
it though, but with blue skin. Maybe not with the bugged eyes because they didn't have the bug eyes or anything, but that's what made me what
yeah.
I
I was
thought of. Or the
pictured. I
ants.
pictured from the bug, A Bug's Life. Like that's
Flick.
straight up what I pictured.
Flick is who I kind of pictured too. But my first one was Oompa Loompas. um, Oro tried to get them to release Isla, but they wouldn't listen. The the main winged man, because we really didn't find out what they were called. They just called them winged men,
Yeah,
winged man.
yeah.
They were hesitant to listen to a ruler who abandoned them.
Which why do they all think that they were abandoned? So,
I wonder it's because nobody came
like,
around. Like nothing's thriving, so nobody's around. We don't even know what they do. Like what exactly do they do? And I can understand because the king's trying to figure out and put the puzzle pieces together when the centennial is not happening. So he's kind of
I
like,
guess I could see them feeling abandoned since the island disappeared and they were left behind, really, to kind of like continue on, pick up the pieces or whatever. So I guess I can see why they feel like they've been abandoned in that sense.
and whoever's there is just living their life, their day to day life like normal. Like they're not worried about anybody else.
Yeah.
Um, they were willing though to kill the king, but not Isla.
Yeah.
And because they didn't care if the island crumbled because they had all suffered enough. But it doesn't state how they suffered, other than that they felt abandoned. So they live in a hive, but we don't know what their importance is, like what they do for the island. My take is
Yeah.
that it has to be something important.
But so are they're suffering, like are they not getting the power? Like do they feed off power? Is that why their wings are limp? Like were they more
Well,
of a thriving, like able to
Isla
fly?
Isla was wondering if it had to do with the Skyling's curse. Like, were they part of that curse? Is that where they come from? Like, part of? Because
Yeah.
we do find out that when they fall later on, they're in the graveyard beneath the Skyline Isle. So maybe they're part of that, and that's why.
Could be.
Or do they
They
feel
thrive
abandoned?
more being in the sky or something.
Is that why they feel abandoned? Is because nobody's broke the curses? Like that's nobody's doing anything to break the curse. Or they know more about the
That
prophecy
nobody's
because he did state, then why didn't you seek me out for help too? So I feel like they know more, but nobody has
Oh,
like
for
went
sure
to
they know
them.
more. They know more. Because he said that
Yes.
he knows. He knows. He
How?
knows.
Because he made the remark that he can't hide the king can't hide Isla from him. That he knew that she was a wildling. So how?
Yeah.
Which the king isn't hiding her. Like
He's
it's just her.
they all just she's cloaking herself. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's not. Um he did say the island is well on its way to destruction. Um and then he slices the king's neck. I was not
Yeah.
expecting that. I was not expecting that.
Yes.
But that gave time for Isla, while he was distracted, to break free and throw her dagger straight at his heart. But Oro stopped it.
And then Oro made a move and somehow had the sword that was at his neck back at the other
Against,
guy's neck. It was
yes.
like power play
But that he was more
there.
shocked about the dagger straight for the heart from her. Like he was more shocked about that. Um,
Yeah. So then we
that's when
know that they had anticipated the way some of this stuff would play out because she would pique his curiosity. So like they knew that um he would be more distracted by her than anything to kind of see some of it play out the way that it did. They might have seen that, but I don't think they anticipated him slicing dude's neck. Like,
no. um, he knew though that she was a surprise, a very interesting surprise, and that she was born strangely.
mm-hmm.
I wonder though, but because he said for information that he wanted Isla to come visit him once it was all over willingly. So I wonder if he just wants to know, like, more about her, like how she's made it this far,
Maybe.
how she's kept it
But
a
I like how
secret.
he was like, I want the wildling. And the king was like, I don't fucking
No.
think so. And like made a move. And he was like, just come visit. That's all. That's
But
all I
I think
want.
it was
I don't have
no.
to fight you.
I think it was because he knew Islo would have him by the balls. Like if
Yeah.
he just gave her up.
Yeah. I
Do you have a thought?
definitely think that he wants her to come visit for information to I don't know, maybe they worked with the wildlings and there's like
Mm,
no wildlings left like there's
right.
other people on the island. Wild Isle is just
Or
fucking
he's
gone.
curious. Or he's like curious about how she's grown up
Yeah.
without the powers. This is where they learn that the heart blooms somewhere new each time where darkness and light meet. That's what I'm wondering. Is it the mirror? The place of mirrors? I just don't know if it's one of those where darkness meets light. Because, like I said, we don't know except for Sky Isle has two places and then Sun Isle has a few.
He starts all of those and we find out um or he says he's gonna search those.
Yeah.
Does he search those?
He says he will do that. And then he stated,
Because then they searched something.
not, no, that was later on. He was going to search the cave when we get to the
Oh, yeah.
cave. Um, yeah, a lot of that doesn't happen till the cave, once they're in the cave. Because after they leave the hive, he went to fly them out and then he fell because he passed out from losing too much blood. Um, she needed to find him some water so he could heal himself, and then she struggled to wake him up to have him help her. So she was like carrying his dead weight pretty much the whole time. And when
Yeah.
she finally gave out, luckily she was close enough to water that knew it was him to start healing. Um, and then she drifts off to sleep. And when she wakes up, she didn't realize at first that the sun was about to peek its peek itself out on them. And so she had to drag him to the cave before he burst into flames. And that made her panic.
Okay. So I wonder if they'll think that they're unsuccessful in searching all these places because he's got all these strategic places. Like he knows that it involves Nightshade.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I wonder if they're gonna think that they're unsuccessful, and it's gonna be in a place that they're not gonna think to check. Like that it has something to do with
Or it's in an obvious
Nightshade and
spot.
Sunlink.
It's in an obvious spot that you wouldn't think. Just like when you can't find something in an obvious spot, it takes you forever.
Yeah. Or light meets
Good.
darkness. Maybe it's a metaphor for something.
Ooh.
Maybe it's the fucking king. Maybe it's a sacrificial thing.
But I don't
Dark
think
meets
either one
light.
has to I don't think them two have to sacrifice. I
Yeah.
did like this
So,
chapter.
huh?
The cave. I liked this
Yeah,
one.
I did
They're
too. Good little
questioning.
thing.
Although, at the end, I called bullshit when we get there.
Okay.
I called
Um,
bullshit on that.
I was thinking of how he said that he would check Sky Isle, and they kind of got into an argument about her not trusting him.
Yes. The cave was beneath the Skyline graveyard. It is one of the places where dark meets light. So he said that he would check it. I think once it got dark, then he would
I'm
check
assuming it
it.
probably leads out to light somewhere. So
Or
he
maybe
had to
there's
be
like
careful.
holes,
Yeah.
like holes that shine light in it. And this is where we found out that Nightshade did build the island with the Sunlings. When they were banished from Lightlark, their lands were built over, but some parts and some creatures still dwell in the in between. But from previous chapters, we had thought that they just up and fled. So that makes you wonder, why were they banished?
That why didn't she ask more fucking questions about why they were specifically banished when it was
Yeah.
said that they had fled? I would have been like, excuse me. I was told they fled.
Yeah.
You're saying that they were fucking banished. What gives?
Yeah, because isn't that what she like? That was like the story she grew up to from like Tara and
Yeah.
Poppy. Like Nightshade
Mhm.
fled, not
Yep.
banished. Um, he wants to check Moon Isle last, and this is where he knows. He knows that Cleo has her isle heavily guarded, and if she knows they're looking for something, she'll want to look for it herself.
Yep.
And that makes me wonder, she would be the one, like if she knew the story behind the heart, she would be the one to take that power and use it.
For sure. And she would essentially I I feel that she would essentially use her legion. Like her legion would be outed, and she would use the legion to
To
find
hold
the heart
everybody.
herself, just so that way she could use the power. She would keep everybody else from being able to find it. She's not gonna fucking want to fucking work
Mm-mm.
with somebody. Like she's
Mm-mm.
gonna want that power and break the curse.
There's 8 places where light and darkness meet. And this is where this was kind of nice that Isla was afraid that the ancient creatures were lying. Like, how do you know that they're not lying to us? But they cannot lie to the king.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good to know. And then Oro believes the original offense was wielding the heart of Lightlark, someone using its powers. Um, so when Sunling and Nightshade created Lightlark, they trapped a fraction of their power into the heart. That's why Aura finally invited Grimm to the Centennial for the first year. And if he would have known before this one, he would have invited him previous years.
Mm-hmm.
But he believes that someone used the Nightshade power trapped in the heart to cast the curses. My question is, who? Who did it?
I feel like it was either Azul or Cleo.
I could see Cleo.
And I feel like it could definitely be Azul, and he's like didn't expect the curses to be as heavy as what they are. Um,
And he has so much
or
guilt. I could see it
yeah,
kind of being it. I don't believe like he wouldn't be my first choice, but maybe he felt so much guilt because it killed his husband
yeah,
too,
I
and like he's
100
trying to
percent
break it.
I 100% back that it would be Cleo before Azul, but it could have been one of those he felt betrayed type things
But
and wanted to get revenge, and then it just got way out of hand, and he did not expect it to go the way that it did.
then again, it couldn't be them. It would have to be one of the originals because the curses were spun with the originals. So was it one of the originals? What if it was his brother?
We
What
gotta
if it was
find
Aura's brother or Aurora
end up being somebody we least expected.
or somebody we don't know?
Somebody we least expected, yeah, or yeah.
Somebody we haven't been introduced. Yeah, because I don't think it's any of the rulers
Manipulation.
now that I think about it. I don't think it's any because it has to be one of the original rulers that
Maybe we're gonna find out
sacrificed.
that not all the rulers died. And they have to defeat
Or
like this bad. But he's in the
was
underbelly. I don't know.
it the creator, the Sunling creator, taking the Nightshade's power after they left? Hmm.
I don't know. But we
I
need
don't
to
know
wait
the
and see
dude's name.
because
I don't remember the dude's name.
did it say what his name was?
Yes,
Oh
we find
yeah.
out in the
That you had Forrest and Cronin.
yeah, Cronin and Ors, Malvir and Ray.
Yeah. Okay.
So maybe it was I what Horus is the Sunling. So maybe it was him
Could have been.
because it's not the Nightshade. It's not somebody from. I don't believe it's somebody from Nightshade.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder if it was him. Or I didn't figure this out until the last centennial, which I want to know how. Like, how did he start putting the pieces together to
I'm
come up
hoping we
with
get more
this?
information on that. Like what type of research was he doing to
Right.
get
To
the
put the
information?
yeah. He wanted Isla to leave, but she decided to stay and wait with him. So they played a game of questions. I didn't like go full detail on the questions. I did do like some good ones. Like
I did too.
he asked her about her life back on the Newland, and she was honest with him that it was awful. And this is where we find
I
out
did
that
too.
King. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say this is where she tells him that it's like being a bird trapped in a cage.
And he understood. He understood what she meant because he's felt like that for the last 500 years because he hasn't been able to do anything. Like he can't figure it out. And this was kind of cool. Like we got the backstory a little bit about his brother. because we learn that the king of Lightlarks do not fall in love because of it makes them vulnerable and they can lose their powers. So his
Mhm.
brother and Aurora were not in love. They were in love, but not in the loving way that people would
Yeah.
think, because they didn't share their abilities. Because when you're in love, I guess you can share your abilities with your partner,
Maybe like a friendship love that's still friend zone, but they attempted to do something to
because they
save
wanted
their
to bring,
friends.
yeah, they
Right.
wanted to bring people together. And I don't think I wrote this down. Yeah, he did meant, like, she asked him to, can two people from different realms fall in love, and he said no. And I think that like kind of devastated her, because I think she was thinking of her and Grimm
Yeah.
of falling in love with each other. Um, and this is where we got into place where his favorite place was the beach. And he talked about that the sea was a strange shade, dark green like her eyes. And she thought that it was weird that he would say strange for the color. So she just told him sounds beautiful. And this is where she asked him about the bond breaker. But like she didn't straight up say the bond breaker, but she asked if there was a relic that could break a bond or break the curses of the ones that wielded it. And he said that no, otherwise he would have found a way to use it. Um, and then he asked her, "Is that what you're looking for?" And she confirmed it to him, which kind of surprised me that she was like so open on that.
Yeah. We also learned that he's been able to gild since he was a child,
Yes.
and not even his brother could do that. He was more powerful than his brother, and he was told to hide it, so
Because he
that
was supposed
way
to be, his brother was supposed to be the strongest.
he was the heir. So it all should have been him. So he let his secret out since he was dying. And then
And
he
this,
asks what her secret was.
yes. And she wouldn't answer him, so he switches about. He knew that she let him win the duel and that she said that she didn't want to be a target. That's why she let him. And then she asked what his flair was, which also has me curious, like what's his special ability, but he's not going to tell her until she says his secret. He really wants to know the secret, and this is where I call bullshit, because he said, "If you tell me your secret, you can win all of this." Like when it came down to it, she would be the one to win. I call bullshit. I think he was saying
Me
that.
too.
I think he was saying that just to get her to say what her secret was. Like he's so curious on what it is, or he has a speculation, because he did come out and say, you're either the only one not interested in the prize, which she's not the only one. Grimm doesn't even want the prize. Um, he does Oro doesn't even want the prize because he doesn't want to become God. He doesn't want to become a
Yeah.
god because too much power is dangerous. Or her secret was worse than he suspected. So he suspects something. And he's too curious to want to know that he's going to throw out anything to get her to open up. And he did, one of the chapters, he did come out and say that he doesn't go break promises or go back on like his word, but I still call bullshit on that.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, okay, you're gonna win, because what if somebody killed her and he wasn't able to protect her? Like, you can't tell her that. So I call bullshit on that.
Yeah. I do feel that he's playing an angle. Like he's
One to his
telling her
advantage.
that. And yeah, I definitely agree with calling bullshit on him trying to get the information. And I think he's picking up on especially what the two ancient creatures have kind of put out there. Because didn't the specter say something? Did she give something away, or was it
I think it was just the high
um,
the winged
just the
man.
hive people? Um, I don't know. So maybe he's just trying to ask the right questions to get it out of her because
Well, because he's probably putting two to two together because the one demonstration, she didn't show her powers.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
knocked his, she just showed that she can defend herself. So he's probably putting pieces together like he
Yeah.
has been with the heart.
He's for sure been suspicious since the beginning. With her. And I think now, because she hasn't come out and like used her power or anything in situations where, even though she was told it would be better for them not to, she still could have.
Mm-hmm.
And she hasn't. So
and he can't
there's
sense.
probably, yes,
He can't
and it's
sense
probably
it
driving
either.
him crazy, and he probably thinks that there's way more to it than what she's letting on.
Right. Definitely. But I don't see how he can just up and tell her. Because what if they're not the ones to break the curse? Like, you can't offer something up that you're not guaranteed to actually win.
Because they're looking for it doesn't mean somebody else isn't going to find it.
Because Cleo's up to something.
Yeah.
Cleo's up to something, and Grimm's up to something. You know, we don't know what they're up to. Celeste could have a whole ulterior motive that we don't know about.
Yeah.
And we really don't know a whole lot on Azul.
Yeah, we haven't.
We know more about Celeste and Cleo, Grimm and Oro than we do Azul. They've only had the few encounters together.
And we've only gotten that little bit of backstory about like his husband.
Through Oro. Not even Azul himself had shared that info. We had to find out through Oro. So I don't see how he can give up the prize to her for a secret.
Yeah.
At this point, that's him being desperate.
Oh, excuse me.
So the next 7 chapters are 36 through 42. I'm ready to read 36 because the title about the Oracle.
What? We have 14 chapters to go.
I know. We are 2 almost podcasts away before we start book 2. So I'm excited to see, what we're going to find out. What secrets are we going to find out?
I am also sad that we're getting to the end of the book and it's just now giving us more action.
Yes. We have answers, but we have even more questions.
Like, is book 1 a cliffhanger? At least we have book 2. We don't have to wait on it to come out. We can instantly go into book 2. But
right. I wonder how much more answers we're gonna get.
I want an info dump.
Yes, but I want some action at the same time.
Yeah.
I need to know what Grimm was up to the night of the ball.
Yeah.
I don't think it's anything too suspicious. I think he just has his own plan to try to break these curses. And who knows? He could have been working for the last 400 years because we're only on, 500? Because this is the 5th centennial. He could have been working the last 400 years on his own plan. And now that he's invited, he has it planned out.
Yeah. I do think that it's going to be one of those where he could be like, his plan could involve doing something that's going to seem like a betrayal, but it was for the better good of everything,
right?
And in the end they're going to be like, okay, yeah, that wasn't
as bad as what it was.
Yeah. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that. So
I just feel like he knows about the heart. See, and this leads me to believe, like I just said about, he could have been playing the last 400 years, especially if what we were talking about, like him sensing outcomes or like getting predictions of what could happen. Like he's probably had these premonitions for like the last 400 years, if that's what is happening.
And that very well could be. And it's not like
Which
he
could
can do
help
anything
him.
because he wasn't invited.
Right. And this is the first year he's like, okay, I got it. Like maybe he saw this coming. Like I said, he knew Isla's name.
That makes so much more sense now.
Like if he was able to see the out like the events
Yes.
coming up, like he's like, okay, this is who's gonna be there. I'm finally invited. I know this is the outcome. Is that why he's always
He
there
knows to
with her?
be, yeah, in the right places at the right
Right.
time. But
Because
I
he's
feel like
already seen it.
he,
Is that why they feel, well, no, that would be why they feel like she's met him.
I think there's more of a connection to that.
Yeah.
Like,
I hope I'm not wrong though that he can predict outcomes or it's something close to it, because if I'm totally wrong, because it makes sense to me.
maybe he can't control, maybe he didn't know some of this stuff was happening and he can't control what's being seen. Like maybe he couldn't control what was being seen during that demonstration and that's just what came out
Is that why
and
he
he
looked
didn't do
bored?
it intentionally. Or maybe he was seeing stuff leading up to the ball and then put two and two together like, fuck, this is the day that it's about to happen. This is the time it's going to happen. I can't be here for this.
Oh. Oh, that could be it too.
Because sometimes situations like that, like the person has no control over what they see.
Mm-hmm.
They or whatever, and
And
then
then they don't
like
want to
they
witness
have to
it.
figure it out. Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Did he
I
leave?
feel like
Did he leave to try to prevent it, but it happened too soon?
I feel like him and Isla are gonna share a moment, and then he's gonna tell her. She's gonna be like, "Where the fuck were you at? Why weren't you there?"
Well,
And
it
he's
needs to be
gonna
the next
have
7 chapters.
his
Like, where were
reasoning.
you? You
Yeah.
didn't come back. I mean, a
Well,
shit ton was happening at the time, but he didn't come back. It was like he left and then bam, it happened. What? Your thinking gears are going?
my thinking gears are going. Um, Maybe he had to go, and there was a specific reason. He said, "I don't know. Maybe you should go dance with the king
He knew
because
the
she
king
needed
needed
to
help.
be there."
Like he's predicting he already knows the prediction of the outcome.
So yeah, that makes total sense. Why? Because she was like, "Really? We just had a fucking moment, and he's
Yeah,
telling me like
to go
go
dance with the
dance with the
king.
fucking king because
That
that's where
makes
she needed to
sense.
be. She needed to be up there.
Yes, that made sense.
Maybe something was gonna happen to him, and she was his voice of reason. Like she was like, "Get the fuck up! Like these people need you. You're not dead." Um,
Did he leave because maybe part of his demonstration was supposed to have a boulder fall on his head? Is that why he left? So it didn't kill him? Because nobody was going to save him. Nobody would save him
no,
to heal
just like
him.
nobody would fucking save Isla.
Yeah,
Like other than Celeste,
maybe.
maybe Azul,
Because Celeste was off with her own people, saving her own
Oh
people.
yeah, so she might not have even been able to get to her.
And Azul was saving
She
his
was
people,
kind of
trying to.
scattered. Yep.
They were all kind of like trying to save their own people. So Isla was by herself. The possible theories of what could happen.
I my
I hope
gears are
I'm at
spinning
least
now that
close.
I'm just like,
I hope I'm close to like trying to put two and two together here because there's like a lot of twists and turns and
There
not
is, and
what I was
every
expecting.
every every time we read our set of chapters, like I feel like we're close to something. I feel
Hopefully,
like
in the
we're gonna
next
find
seven
that we're close
chapters,
to
we should.
something. As far as what we think or like how things are going. Um, but watch us be like 100% way the fuck off with
Probably.
everything.
I think I
Cause
am, at least. I mean, I was wrong with the pairings. I'm like 0 for 1.
I feel like I was somewhat there with Grimm, with her like at the beginning seeing the flash of his teeth, like he wanted to bite her, and then like his demonstration kind of like backing that up, like he could show people things like, and maybe not necessarily mess with their minds. Maybe part of it um is like that, but now it's like, okay, there's so much more to him with his powers.
Yes. Yeah, because that's not all of his. What he showed her, there is more. So it makes you wonder, is he more powerful than Oro? Like, who's more powerful? Which we really haven't seen
I
much of
don't know. Maybe they're
Oro's.
pretty equal. Maybe they're pretty equal since they both created their plans, whatever, both created Lightlark. Maybe they're pretty equal, but in different ways with power level. Because, like, Oro is really fucking powerful, but he's got a combination of most of the powers because he's like acting ruler right now. He's the king. Whereas maybe Nightshade, Grimm is just, you know, Nightshade powerful because he's an ancestor of a
Hmm.
creator. Um, and since he's not like ruling Lightlark and he's just got his own, that his power is heavy on like a different level of whatever he can do. Because he's pretty
Right.
fucking powerful. And I feel like Oro's pretty fucking powerful. And they just kind of like counter each other or balance each other in
That light and darkness,
some way.
like,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because light and dark are the balance. They counter each other in every way. That them two have most likely
right.
they're
I'm ready for the next 7, though.
me too.
Like I said, especially this next one. Maybe get a little backstory on the Oracle and why they spun the curses. Or they go meet the Oracle. If it's still around.
Yeah, I'm
Is it one of
hoping
the
that
ancient creatures?
that's what I was wondering. And I'm hoping that we do get more info on the prophecy. Like maybe that is one of the ancient creatures, or the ancient creature knew the oracle, has more of the prophecy, or gives more of a clue of maybe finding an oracle. All I know is I need
Answers. Yes. Okay, so next week we will do 36 through 42.